Greetings, YouTube. That is an Eastern Island head tissue dispenser. You pull the tissues out of his nose, and normally you would put them like this on top of a box of tissues, and just go choop, 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 choop. But we don't really have a place to put a tissue holder like that, so I want to mount it vertically like this, and it's got these two convenient cutouts here. So I'm going to take these two really cheap plates. They're dirt cheap. They're like 58 cents a piece, I think they are. And I want to build two brackets. Now one bracket is going to go here, and so the device will sit on this, so the bend is going to go book, book. And that's going to be really simple because those are outside curves. Now on this one, I want to make it so it sits on the bottom because I want to make sure I have some support on both top and bottom. So I'm going to put it here, and that's going to be two inside curves. So I need to make a curve this way, a bend this way, and then a small one that way. So I can use my bench vise, and I have this tool right here from WIS, which is all about bending metal precisely. So I think between these two devices, maybe a hammer to tease the angle into the position I want it to be, and I've got plenty of hammers, I should be able to make out two brackets, and once I get them bent the way I want them bent, and I would like to have them just come up flush. So it's going to be a very small bend on each of them. One, because I want to make sure I'm not interfering with the tissue box itself, and then up here I don't want to have it showing. So if I have to, after I make the bend, if it isn't exactly the way I want, I'll just I'll just take it over to my belt sander, and I will sand it down until it fits exactly. Because I mean, it's only holding up itself and the tissue holder, but it does have to put up with some resistance because you're going to be pulling this, and I'm going to probably put two holders in each of these, and each one will be a 50-pound mount. So that will be 200 pounds of force, static, not dynamic, static force. So that we should have no problem with this thing moving once it's in the wall. And when it's mounted, you will not see the brackets. They will be hidden by this. The only time you'll ever see them is when you take it off to replace the container of tissues. So I'll probably do the outside curve first, bend first, because that's going to be the simplest, and we'll see how it goes. And here we go. And my prediction that this was going to be easier to make than this was correct. Getting these two to be correct was fairly easy, and I had to shorten up that little lip on top, so now it's roughly flush with the top, and you can barely see it. This one was more difficult because I had to bend this one first and then this one, and I discovered that these were pretty much useless. I just do not possess the strength to bend that in a tight manner, and I don't have a steel block to use to fit in here to crisp up that corner. So they did the best I could. I broke out my clamp that I made for my bench so I can hold things horizontally, and I basically shoved this under there and then hammered this down slightly, and then I had to kind of work it back just a little bit so that it's where I want it to be, and it grabs in here fairly tightly, and again, when I'm done and this is all mounted and everything, I think it's going to work just fine. So you can reach over, grab the tissue, and not have to worry about the thing falling off the wall, because it's going to have support both on top and the bottom. I contemplated cutting these down, but quite frankly, I don't really think there's a reason for it. They're not going to interfere with each other. There's a big gap between the two distances that we're talking about here. So they're not interfering with each other, and they will be completely hidden once they are mounted. So now it's to clean this mess up a bit and head back upstairs and start figuring out where I want to put the brackets, because I have a fair amount of room in here. I'd like to get them in the middle if I can, just for aesthetics, because you will see some of it slightly, particularly the top one. So I'd like to get that kind of in the middle. The bottom one is going to be less visible than the top one will. So I already have the spot for this to be mounted on. So I'm going to go upstairs and set these up and hopefully get them correct. I will probably put in this one first so I can hang it and then monkey with the details about how to get this one in the correct location. I've learned a long time ago, actually I learned, I can't say a long time ago because I made this mistake too many times. When you're trying to line two things up, mount one side first. Figure out where it naturally sits and then mark the measurement. Don't measure everything out from the start and hope that your measurements are right and everything's going to work out, because you're almost invariably going to be wrong. Figure out where one side is, get your mount so you can put it in place and it's a little loose. Figure out where the second or third mark is and then work from there. I just found it's more accurate and you get far less frustration. Because boy, can you get frustrated if you're doing this and you're trying to line up holes perfectly with measurements, because you're always wrong, man. You're just wrong. It's human's nature. So I'm going to take this upstairs and start laying out holes. And there we have the two brackets mounted on the wall where I want them. And just a note, in case folks out there have to drill holes in old walls, actually even new walls, but these are old, these are plaster. Get yourself a dustpan with a rubber lip like this, and when you drill holes, you can catch almost all the dust right in the pan. Makes cleanup a whole lot easier because you just take it and go into the garbage and you're done. So one last shot when you see the fully mounted box. And there we go, folks. One official tissue dispenser that just happens to be an Easter Island head that spews tissues out its nose.